Hey, welcome to Triple C, Candace's College Cooking, where I teach you, the 20-something crowd, the basics and hacks of cooking, as well as how to impress your friends and maybe a date with restaurant quality creations. Today's episode is all about spices. Imagine you were alone on a deserted island. Candidly, many of you probably feel that way right now. You're away from home for the first time, and you have to feed yourself on a fixed budget, which typically means you can't eat out every meal. Let's say you had the option to have 6 spices. What would you bring and why? I'm going to walk you through my choices and what I consider foundational and most affordable for you for your first solo kitchen experience. The first is not going to come as a big surprise. It is, you guessed it, salt. Salt can act as a preservative, although we really don't use it that way in the United States anymore. But it draws out moisture from meats, fruits, and vegetables. But most importantly, salt brings out the natural flavor in food. I used to think to myself, why on earth would you add salt to something sweet? It just doesn't seem to make any sense. People used to stick it on melon and strawberries, and I'd be like, what are you doing? But the truth is that a pinch of salt with sugar balances sweetness and harmonizes the results. There are many types of salt in the market today, but given that we're on a budget, I'm gonna call out 2 specific types. The first is table salt, which of course is what you put into the salt shaker, as well as use when you're baking cakes and breads and cookies and things like that. The other is kosher salt, and I basically use this for everything else. My family has also dabbled with Himalayan pink sea salt. It's supposed to be heart healthy and better for your heart. But you guys are young, so you really don't need to worry about that, and it's a bit pricey. Funny enough, there are actually a couple different brands of kosher salt that vary in what I'll call potency. In other words, certain recipes call for a reduced amount of kosher salt if you're using brand X versus brand Y. Say if you're gonna dry brine a turkey or a chicken. But I grew up with Morton's, so that's what I use. Morton's is cost effective, almost ubiquitously available in any grocery or big box store. And I leave my kosher salt actually out on the countertop in one of these little small camberts, so I can just, grab and throw. That's what works for me. The second, a close second, if you will, is, of course, no big surprise here, black pepper. All right? I prefer a light grind. In other words, I like my pepper fairly hearty, so I buy what's called restaurant grind or restaurant ground black pepper. But other people prefer it finely ground. That's what you'd put in, a pepper shaker to go along with your salt shaker if you want to do that. Really, there's no right or wrong answer. Just figure out what you like and make that work. My third herb / spice is actually a spice combo. It's called Cavender's Greek Seasoning. All right, this is Cavender's. It's basically 13 spices in one can. It includes salt, pepper, garlic, oregano, parsley, onion powder, and several other what we'll call mystery spices that aren't listed on the label. I actually learned about Cavender's for the first time when I was at college at Texas A&M. And if you're from Texas, it is not related to the Cavender's Boot City family, although they do sell it there. It's actually produced in Harrison, Arkansas. It's fantastic on sandwiches, added to sauteed meats and vegetables. Basically, you can use it on anything where you would typically use salt and pepper. All the spices are ground pretty fine into a light powder. That's about what it looks like. So give it a try. You won't be disappointed. And the 8-ounce container, this big guy, costs about $4.80 at Walmart. And I'm fairly certain you can buy it in the 4-ounce variety if you care to as well. All right, moving on. Number 4 is also a spice combo. Since I can only have 6, I'm basically pulling some of my favorites together, basil, oregano, thyme, into what is sold as an Italian spice blend or Italian seasoning. All right, if something calls for basil, you like my spaghetti sauce, you can substitute the Italian spice blend. And best of all, it's cheap. You can get an ounce of this for around $1.15 at Walmart. So that's, a pretty good deal. All right, number 5 is gonna be a bit of a surprise. It's what I would consider a luxury herb because it can be expensive. It's used often in French cooking, and honestly, it is my secret ingredient in anything hard-boiled egg related. That would include deviled eggs, egg salad, chicken salad, you name it. And it is Teragon. All right, Teragon is expensive, but if you like it, it can become your secret ingredient as well. It runs about $4.60 for 0.4 ounces at Walmart. And this is the 0.4 ounce size. So, you get a lot of Teragon in there. All right, number 6. I was really on the fence for number 6. Half of me wanted to say thyme, but the other half of me wanted to say Fennel Seed. I love them both, but the later half, one specifically because the punch Fennel Seed provides. You can grind it with a little spice grinder, which also is like a coffee grinder, but don't use them interchangeably. You have one for spices, one for coffee. You grind it. You can grind it into a fine powder and use it on a pork tenderloin, but I use it mostly in my spaghetti sauce. And since I'm going to teach you the importance of sauce in a future episode, I need you to have Fennel Seed. Unlike the Italian spice blend, fennel has a very distinct flavor. It's a bit like licorice and pepper had a baby. Unfortunately, it's also a little on the pricey side. It'll set you back about $4.40 for 1.6 ounces, but let me tell you, it's worth it. So in conclusion, stocking your first kitchen with the right herbs and spices doesn't have to be expensive, and using the right spices will make a huge difference in how your food tastes. To recap, let's make sure I get the right one. Salt, specifically kosher salt, restaurant ground black pepper, Cavender's Greek seasoning, Italian seasoning, Teragon, and Fennel Seed. And I got a 7th wild card, and it's chili powder. This one specifically is chipotle chili powder. My husband loves to put chili powder and everything he makes, and that would certainly be in his top 6. If you like this episode or found it useful, please subscribe to my channel, like, and share on social. Remember, to share a meal is to share a life. Thanks for watching Triple C. I hope you'll join me next time.